Up to Mimi. Um, I'm back, but more for to hang out. I mean, it's not like I'm gonna get a job or anything overnight, so but no, I'm still gonna be taking a break. I mean, if I do take, I did grab an account, but if I do take any trades, it's gonna be either like the breakout trade or not the breakout trade, the opening trade, or it's going to be like a crazy trend line trade where I have an obvious stop, etc. I'm not going to be sitting here scalping all day. If anything, I was more so just getting on to hang out because I don't really at this point in the day I don't really have too much I could do. I could do stuff around the house and stuff like that, but I don't have too much going on. So I do want to get rid of that art. It's so annoying that they even make you have that up by default. Well, the problem isn't the initial eval, it's always been once you get funded, because you can sit here and essentially gamble these evals. That's the problem is they're so easy to gamble. It's easy to get a funded account when you don't mind blowing up a few of these evals just to get one. But once you get to the funded account, you have to trade for real. I mean, at that point, you're kind of screwed because what are you going to do? But yeah, I figured we could hang out, talk, maybe get some support with the 90% affiliation code. See if that works out. See if people have been waiting. I know a lot of people blew up, so I would only assume a decent amount of people will probably grab some new accounts. I've actually been debating on trying the opening range trade because that was what worked and what got me to pay out the first time. Then I personally just blew it because I've been kind of paying attention to it, and it does seem to work, or it has been working, I should say. Top Step having a better offer. I mean, I think they're just going to redo the $11 thing, which is a good offer, but when you do get funded with them, they force you into that $140 one, so you're always going to be paying that. Where Apex has the $85 option. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I did finally get my money in Robinhood, so I'm actually paying attention to that stuff as well. Been doing a lot of research into how I want to play this, and it's like $25,000 is really not that much money when it comes to how you want to play options on the selling side, I should say. And you could sit there and buy options all day, but just realize that it's like overlapped. So now that means I gotta fix it in here. Okay. But we'll see. Well, what I'm doing, I'll never be risking. I'll be choosing how much I risk. I'm not ever going to be in a trade where I can lose significant amount of money. Like here, I'll show you. I'll give you an example. Um, like Cisco right now had earnings yesterday, and they flew down. Let's take a look at their. They had this big down day. Like they're going down even more. You know what? Let me open this tab over here as well, so you guys. So I was kind of looking at it, and it looks like in pre-market we're sitting at 47.89. More towards the daily here. Yeah. So I was really looking. Actually, like other better. Yeah. So this is pretty much these are monthly candles. A pretty clear trend line. Actually have a nice little head and shoulders here. So I'm kind of half expecting this to drop down and test this trend line. Span. Because the odds are you're going to retest here. But when it does here, I don't know. But this 34, so this 34 area is what I would be most interested in. So if we go back over to here, if we go to options, and if we wanted to sell put at 34, they're like non-existent. Well, this is same day. Go out to like Christmas time. This is like a month out. So even so, selling puts at that 34 area, they're like non-existent essentially. Just because it's so far away. But if we use that trend line, you start to get up into where you could collect some premium. I mean, you could go further out, 2 months. But even so, I mean, there's not much here. But then, so what I'm getting at here is if you go over to something like Apple, where the volatility is good, all that stuff. Let's see. Just go a week out. Look at all the premiums sitting here. I mean, these are buying calls, but if I wanted to sell a put, and if we pull up Apple's chart, I would not be interested in this at right now because I think Apple's near the top of its range at the moment. I would actually rather. I'm more so bearish on this and SPY. Even the SPY right now coming up to some pretty key levels. I just don't see us. I mean, man, I can't believe the SPY pushed back up like that. It would just be really, it would be really weird for the SPY to make this move. Let's go to the daily. Looks worse on the daily. Just this move without any sort of a pullback doesn't feel healthy. Like I feel like it's not going to be able to sustain the move. I think we at least, this is obviously just my opinion, I think we come down, try to fill this gap at least. So 441 area, something around there. What it does after that, I don't know. But for this to just gap, like it, look at this was actually, I think, a gap as well. Gap, pretty much go sideways, but in an upward trend, and then gap again like it did. I don't know. It just, with everyone saying they don't have money, credit card debt is higher than ever. Like it, it doesn't feel right. What strategy will I be following, and is it strategy tested? Yeah, I mean, selling puts and covered calls is essentially what I'd be looking to do, and then they call that the wheel strategy, and it's very long term. I'm not doing any of the fancy like iron condors and all that stuff. If there is one other thing I might implement, they're called credit spreads. So you would take something like Apple, like right now, we're looking at Apple's chart. If I don't believe this is going to get above, I would want to go up to 200, but let's just use the high here, which is 198. So back over here. Now, this is just next week. But as you can see, if we want to sell all at, let's say, 197.50, if we had 100 shares of Apple or a leap option, which is a way to own, I'll just show you. Buy a call, you go as far out as possible. So this would actually, they consider a leap option anything over a year. But a lot of people that are looking to long-term invest into a company, you just go as far out as possible because you're essentially buying the stock to hold it. So this is January 16th, 2026. And say you wanted to own, you basically get to pick where you want to own the stock. It's just the further away you go, the further in the money you go with this, the more it's going to cost you up front. But 100, what is the current price? 190. If we take a calculator, and you do 190 times 100, it's $19,000. You can come down here, you can own, let's say you just wanted to own, let's look at Apple's chart and see where like the last let's say like the last good area it consolidated or made a low was 165. So you'd be happy with that. So click on this. So for $5,075, you could own 100 shares of Apple instead of the 19,000 it would cost if you just bought it outright. And the max you can lose is that $5,075 that you're paying up front. Where if you bought 19,000 shares or $19,000 worth of Apple right now, in theory, you could lose all of it. But it would have to go to zero, which obviously isn't probably going to happen. The other thing is, if long term you think Apple's just going to keep going up, now you look at the option at 215 is your break even. So 215.75 over time, this option essentially becomes free, and you essentially own Apple for free, which is pretty cool. And then from there, you just make money. But while you have this leap option, it's the same as technically owning 100 shares of Apple. So while you own this leap option, you can then hit sell a call. And let's go back to a reasonable expiration. Let's just go a couple weeks out. And say we think we're at the top and we're not going to go back above that 198. And we think we're going to head down for the next couple weeks. You could click this guy. And if we, just for demonstration purposes, I'm going to get rid of the leap option there. But you would collect $38 in premium for the 2 weeks per contract. So it's like if you do this, and this is where I was saying $25,000 is not a lot of money. So the risk again, so you can kind of choose like here. Let me show you one of the spreads. Let's go 21 days out real quick. Be a little bit better. So let's say I don't think it's going to get above 200. I would sell a call at 200, and then you would buy a call above it, and that creates a call credit spread. So this is a bad example because the risk to reward is not good, but your profit would be $26, but your max loss, which you get to choose based off of the options that you're picking, in this case would be 474. Now, that is not good, obviously. So I wouldn't recommend doing that one, but it's pretty cool too. I think this is fairly new. I watched a lot of older videos on YouTube, and they didn't have like this graph and breakdown, so you didn't even used to have to do this math all by yourself, but now it's pretty much here for you to see in real time. But the cool part is you have what's called rolling, and it's gonna, I guess, sound like averaging in, but it's really not. It's kind of interesting. So as you can see, the price right now is 190.25. You would get $26 up front. Now, as this starts to go, you have $26 all the way until this point. Now, this point is where you put the original strike price that you don't think it's going to go above, which is 200. From that point, you start to lose money. And the further it goes against you, it will, which it looks like at 205. So between 200 and 205, you will steadily lose some money. But what you could do when you're in the position is you could roll the option. So if you start to get, say, a couple weeks go by and we start to actually come back up and test 200, say we get to like 199, you can actually then look at, say, same day or, next week or whatever. You can actually look to close these out while you're still in the money and roll higher and actually collect credit. So let's say we own these, and then we would go out 1 week because it's getting close to that. We would essentially do the same thing. We would sell the 205 now and buy the 210. So we would essentially get out of the other trade, either break even or for a small profit. And then we would, let's get rid of these so you can see. Then you would open a new trade. Now, keep in mind, there is a disadvantage to this. I mean, obviously, you're probably going to not get a lot of premium. Like in this case, it's saying we'd get $11 and we'd be risking 488, but you're not chancing the loss. You're giving it another week to breathe and possibly, pull back at this point. And you're also making more money, or yeah, I said you're making more money up front, but you're also allowing, what was I going to say? There was one other thing I was going to say. Yeah, I think I said you're giving it more room to breathe. Oh, that's the other thing. The one disadvantage to rolling is you're keeping that money tied up, because if you look at it, if I hit continue, you'll see that when we hit review, um, collateral, here it is. So there's $500 in collateral. So you're hanging the collateral up. That's what's going on there. So max loss is 488. So if you wanted to use this collateral for something else, but say you're in, like, say this is 10x, right? Because a lot of people will do this. They'll find a good credit spread and then they'll do it 10 times to collect the premium 10 times. So, because obviously, if we go back, let's go back to a better example. So let's just say we think it's not going to go up 195. This is 28 days out, and then we buy the one above it. So this is a little bit better example, right? You got a max profit of 114, which you're actually going to get up front. You're going to get $1.11, which is $111, and your max loss is 386. And that's basically us saying we're not going to go above 195 by December 15th, or it could go up above 195, but as long as it finishes under 195 by December 15th, you would just keep this $114. Now, imagine somebody that wants to 10x this. So let's hit continue, 10, and we're good to go. So now you are going to collect this $1,140 up front, but you're risking $3,860. But at the same time, that What's going on in a decent little down move there. We went red to green, or green to red, I should say. But at the same time, this is what a lot of people do. They find that trade that they're happy with, and then they basically just 5 exit, 10 exit, etc. Because if you were to only take one contract of this, you're making $114, but over the course of a month, right? A lot of people are looking to make a lot more than that. But if you even just 5 exit, right? Now you're making $570 in a month. That's a little bit better, right? And you're only tying up $2,000. I'm assuming it would say so 2,500. So it's pretty cool. It's just a matter of you have to sit down and do your research and make a logical decision, which I think plays into my strengths, because my strengths are when I'm sober. It's when I get caught in these emotional trades in the moment that I get flustered. But if I have time to sit down and think and actually make a decision without having to make it like in the moment, like specifically like, oh my God, I have to make a decision right now, I'm pretty good at that. Like my strategy in day trading, I 100% believe it's profitable. I always say it. I'm the one that's not profitable, right? I'm the one that can't trade the strategy profitably. So that's kind of where I'm coming from with it. But as far as futures go, we'll see what happens. I have no desire to really push at it right now, but when the sale's going on, I'll kind of mess with it and see what happens. But if I find a job anytime soon, I mean, I feel like I'd probably will just end up doing that for a little bit. And that's the other advantage to options, is I can kind of do it whenever. But to sit here and try to scalp futures, I mean, what I've found in these couple of months of trading futures is that I know that indexes essentially don't follow rules. So when you get these huge moves, it can just base and keep going. Because the index is just full of all these other companies. So if all these other companies are moving in one direction, the index is essentially going to follow. So just because technically you're used to these pump and dumps does not mean that the indexes give a crap about that. They will do this where they go straight down, go sideways for a bit, and then keep going straight down. I found that out the hard way. So I think trying to follow the trend on the indexes is definitely the right way to go. So I think that's what I'll be doing moving forward if I'm going to attempt to trade futures. Either look for trend following or trend breaks, but I think that is the key. I don't think trying to scalp it nonstop is going to be profitable long term. It could be profitable short term, like if you just go on a hot streak, but I think long term it's never going to work, because you're always going to get caught in that one trade that just doesn't work, and then you're essentially going to give everything back. And that's essentially what happens to stock, just regular equity traders as well. I know who ICT is, but I've also seen within the quick month that I've heard of him, he is just a giant scam. There's lots of proof. Well, yeah, the bigger time frame is what I'm after. I'm just watching it on the 1 minute because it's more fun to just, if I know I'm not going to trade, it's more fun to watch it on the 1 minute. Like here, we bounced right off the trend line, finding an entry, then looking to put a stop loss in right below that would be a pretty good Pretty good trade in my opinion. Maybe even like a retest, and then up. I also don't know if there's any news or whatnot this morning. Let me see. That was actually what happened yesterday with the the Top Step account. I was trading and I was actually trading pretty well, and then all of a sudden news hit at 8:30 and I didn't know. Looks like that's what this was news. And I was in a short position following the trend. I was actually trading the trend, and then it just shot up and insta sauced me because it went so far. Forget about his person. A lot of guys came up with an enhanced their own version of his concepts, like Silver Bullet, for example. Give it a look and check it out. Let's see. I will be right back. Let's give this a watch. Yeah. Hey, what's up, all? I'm just watching a video real quick. Infinitely, what's up? Well, the 90%'s back. All right, infinitely. Infinitely. Get your code or get your accounts. Here we are, 90% off. Come and get them. Oh, Paul. Fuck. I'm sorry, man. I wish I feel like I say this all the time. It's like I wish I could say I don't know the feeling, but I do. I do know the feeling. What's up, Jason? This is Quantower. Yeah, it's brutal, man. Because if you're $98 away, that's $2,500, and that's all you can think of in your head now is like that was real. Like you were that close to that being real. It hits you. It hits you so differently than like if you lose an eval. How many accounts would you recommend to get for the 80%? Well, it's 90%, first off. Even better, right? They're $16.70 a piece. I would just start with one first, to be honest, just to kind of get your feet wet. I mean, is this the first time you're doing it? If so, I would just grab one, see what it's like, and the sale goes until the sale. Damn, excuse me. The sale is good until November 28th at midnight. So you have plenty of time. So for now, I would just grab one and get used to everything, because adding them is really easy. they've made it very easy. Like, here, watch. Once you have one, you come here, you hit login, you go up here to Arithmic, select which one you want. It's at 50K. Come down here, fill all this out. Just to show you, I'll do one. I'm not actually gonna sign up, but this is just how easy it is to next, and there you go. 1670. Click here, put your credit card info in, and it's even more dangerous when you know the code by heart, because then you just put that in, hit subscribe, and bang, you're done. And then it'll show up in your RTrader Pro, and it'll automatically go into Quantower, and you're good to go. Pretty easy. Is there a time limit to complete? No time limit. So the only thing, I wish I would have kept that up. Let's see if I, oh cool, actually. So right here, the subscription terms. So it's $16.70 for the first month, and then every month after that, it would be $33.40 to keep the account where it's at. So what I always told people is, you ideally want to try to pass in that first month, but if you can't, if you're close, then you can keep the account for the cheaper price. Or if you're a little bit further away, say like you're only halfway and you're getting towards the end of the month, you could maybe break the rules a little bit and try to push and either pass or don't, because it might just be beneficial to start over and give yourself a whole new month for the 1670 instead of the 3340, if that makes sense. But this only lasts until the 28th, so a lot of people are going to be buying accounts trying to pass before the 28th so that they can have the amount of funded accounts that they want going into December, would be my guess. This market is insane. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. It's kind of scary. Guess I could make this a little bigger so that it fits your screen. So this silver bullet strategy, very interesting. I actually like it. Kind of essentially what I'm attempting to do, like go after here. The pass level, it depends on the account. So again, if we just go to their main site, if you just scroll down, it'll show you everything. So like for the 25K account, your profit goal is 1500, trailing threshold's 1500. So it's one and the same. You go up to the 50K, your profit target, profit target's $3,000. Your trailing threshold's $2,500. And then it's different for each one. But if you go down on their main site, it'll be there for you to see. So it really depends on which account you want, etc. Yeah, the 25K account, I don't even know how much that costs. Never even I've checked, because the 50K is the best one as far as the ratio goes. So it's not that much cheaper, to be honest. 1470 versus the 1670. So for $2 extra, you get twice the amount and a better structure. Moving forward, I'm just gonna trade the minis, which is the NQ. When I was scalping, I was trading the MNQ because I was trying to make the risk make sense. So in the silver bullet strategy, they're not using. Keep asking questions, Jason. I'm not ignoring you. I'm just trying to figure out. So what kind of chart? He's on the 15-minute. Yeah, I guess that does make it a lot more obvious. For Quantower, you use rhythmic connection. Quantower's free. I mean, it might just say try out because it wants you to try out like all the advanced features and stuff, like just have full access. But it's free. When it breaks a higher low, then go to a lower time frame for entry. Okay. I wasn't fully paying attention. I actually went back to watch it again. So essentially, they're just looking for an area to break. See, the thing that I don't understand is what would you do if it's not in a trend that breaks? I guess let me just watch it again. All right, so then he goes into the 1 minute. Get rid of. Okay, so it doesn't have to be a trend that breaks. He's just looking for structure to break. So he's looking for like this is a downward move. If this were to come back up and break this pivot point and get back into a specific area, then you look for an entry to move higher. So he's essentially looking for a reversal just on a much safer scale. The only problem with something like this is you're going to get caught in a lot of trades that take a very long time, which is fine, that are with a pretty wide stop loss. But I guess that's why you have to look for the ranges, I guess. Let me see. A pretty obvious line there. And I mean, you could almost use this line instead of this one, but you'd have to use this one because it's the bottom. Especially, well, yeah, I mean, you have to because this is supposed to be on the higher time frame. If we scroll in, pretty obvious one there. I mean, to me, this is the more obvious line. If anything, this was the trade he's talking about, right? Right? If you draw this line, it breaks, comes up. Then if you had your stop low enough, you'd still be in it, right? Because he looked like he was putting a stop well under, but that's a pretty big stop. But if you don't get in here and it does it again, it comes up, breaks the pivot, you would then be looking for an entry with the stop way under there. And I mean, I guess that's 2 to 1. But the thing is, the 2 to 1 in his scenario is below that previous high, where this one would have been well above it. I guess that's why you got to wait until the volatility comes in. Well, not really, because he did it based off of the set range. I don't know. Maybe the range on the NQ is just too much. Do you choose rhythmic paper trading? Let's see. This is how it should be set up. Account name, username, password, and then Apex Chicago area. This is how I have it. See that? Yeah. It does not cost data for anything. You pay the 1670 and that's it until the month runs out, or you get funded and then you have to pay for the funded account. That's the only cost. There's no other cost. There's no hidden fees. There we go. So for learning purposes, let's get rid of that guy. Let's move. Oh, that's right. These are going to be locked. Let's delete him. Let's put a new one in here. Make these a little bigger. All right. So we got our little range here. So we would essentially be looking. It's pretty perfect too. Look at how far up it is based off of yesterday's close here. Look at that. Pretty much at 900. About 920 and about 880. So it's about 20 points both ways based off of yesterday's close. Some go the nearest hanging fruit previous. Well, that's what this guy was saying. I don't know, is Awake FX. I mean, but it's got a lot of views and a lot of people saying that this was easy, like the easiest one to understand, etc. But he's essentially saying when market opens, you're looking for a break of one of these levels because it's like the key level for it to then come back up into this level, as well as giving you a break of structure. So if you're in, let's say, a downtrend, which this is kind of, sort of, it actually kind of faked out there, but I don't know if you can just draw on this. Yeah. So he's saying, like, you're in a downtrend, so up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, and then he'd be looking for this same downtrend to go. Oops. Second, let me. So let's just do this again. So he would have been looking for this to go like this, and then like this, and then come back up, and then let's just scoot this over. Come back up, maybe go like this, and then bounce here, and then as it's coming up here, that is where your entry would be. But this one, it's a little bit different. I mean, we're still heading down, but it's like now it would be interesting to see. I guess maybe you could draw trend line here. Right? So you'd be looking for this to continue down, break this, and then come back up and break this trend line, and then possibly like a previous area. And then you'd be looking to ride this all the way back up to that top area. That's essentially what I'm getting from the strat. So it's essentially just looking for confirmation to enter, which see, that's the thing. It's like let me watch it again real quick when he actually enters. Yeah. So it's funny because the one that he chose to give an example on literally looks just like this, minus these candles after. It came down, but it went below that bottom line. So it came below the line. Here, I'll draw what it looks like. So it went like this, came back up, came back down, actually pretty much the same, and then went like this. And he's saying this break is what he's looking for, right? Which is exactly what this looks like. It's just not above, or it's just not at the line. So it came down below the line, came up, retested it, looked like it was going to go lower, didn't, came higher, got back above that previous pivot and back through the line. So now he's looking for a long. Now let me see where he says he got in. Fair value gap. So he's looking for to get in after the pullback. Yeah. So I mean, it makes sense. I could see how that could be a I mean, it is true. Like the you got to think of it from the other side of the trade. Um and that's what I used to try to do all the time, like as far as my exits. And that's why I always said I should learn how to just flip my position a lot of the times, because let's say you're short, right? And you're looking for this to go lower. Well, you hold through this bounce, maybe even add into the bounce, or maybe this is where you get short after the big move, you get short into the bounce looking for it to come back down. No matter how you're in this short, your stop, a lot of people's stop is going to probably be above this previous pivot, because if it breaks there, you're telling yourself, well, technically we should have just kept making, like the bouncy ball effect. We should have been making lower highs each time and just keep going down. So when that principle gets broken, which it did here, you're going to have a lot of people stopping out. So in theory, the idea is that when this gets broken, you're probably in for a change of direction. However, what he's doing is he's looking for multiple reasons to get in. So, like here, this was such a straight down move. I don't really see how you can use that. But now that we have a little bit more like of a not so drastic move, and we still are looking for the the key areas to get broken, which is this line down here, that you essentially are waiting for both of those things to happen, which makes sense. I could see that. Yakadaya Ka. Did I say that? I butchered that so bad. Yakadaya Yaka. Higher high as the market structure shift. Correct. Yeah. So in this case, it didn't work, but there was no reason to get in here, right? Because we didn't break anything essentially. Like you'd essentially not be gambling, but you'd be taking a much more risky trade because you're still within this overall range. It's interesting. And it's more of what I'm looking to do moving forward, because I don't want to essentially be sitting here all day. Because like with something like this, I could just set an alert to go off when it breaks this bottom line, and then when it does, I can come back and see what's going on. I wouldn't have to be sitting here all day. Ugh. Robinhood telling me I'm eligible for so much stuff now that my money's in there. I'm a little confused with Robinhood, because I wonder, it might just take a day with this cash earning interest thing. Definitely, because that was one of the reasons I had no problem switching over to them, is because they were actually offering more than I was making in the IB account. So, but I'm assuming it might just take a day or two to register. All right. I like the idea of the silver bullet thing. Oh, FP. Anybody F1 fan? You guys see what happened to if you are, did you see what happened to Carlos Sainz last night? I was up watching the Ravens game, and the Ravens game ended almost right as FP1 was about to start. So I loaded up, and it was, I don't know, like 10 minutes in, Carlos Sainz ran over a manhole cover. It looked like Esteban Ocon like dislodged it, and then Sainz ran over it, and it like he it immediately made his car was like shut off and pull over. So he did, but he was out there for FP2, so I'm assuming it wasn't like any crazy amounts of damage. All right, I'm gonna grab a drink. And then we got about 14 minutes here till the bell. I'll probably start looking at some possible options plays here. I'll leave this up for now though. Definitely interested in this. It's something to watch, and it's actually a good idea as far as looking for confirmation. And it's not too far off of what I was looking for anyway. I just was never looking for like key like supply zones, as a lot of people like to call them, being broken. I would always just look for it to happen whenever. Like look for a trend, and then when it gets broken, look for an entry to ride it the other way. Because a lot of time, like if there's one thing where I always used to say, if you go back, as simple as it seems, if you find trend lines, like obvious trend lines, when they get broken, you know, and I mean, you can do it both ways. You just keep going backwards and find the obvious trend lines. When they get broke, they tend to try to do something. So adding the extra confirmation to it is interesting to me. Problem is you don't want to get too steep with your trend lines, right? This is a 1 minute. I go back and look at it on like the 15 minute. It's probably a little bit easier. Like this was a pretty obvious trend line. Actually failed, right? So they don't always work, but it was pretty steep too. I mean, even the one we have going on, obviously, is pretty steep. Look at this one. This one held after. I mean, well, see, that's the thing. You look at more of a. I mean, this was a 15-minute chart, so look at when that one broke. And then obviously you can't do anything with this. Then look at this one that held. Pretty crazy. And rocket ship. This was that 8:30 news. This is yeah, this was yesterday. I remember this quite vividly. So yeah, so yeah, yeah. This was yesterday. But we shall see. It's definitely interesting. I don't really. I don't know. The market has made a very crazy run in a short amount of time. I just don't see how we continue. And here's the other thing with trend lines too, right? Like you can't just get in on the break of them unless you're on like a super higher time frame, like an hour, 4 hour, or something like that. Because I mean, you'll get faked out all day. You can't just be like, oh, it's breaking the trend line because, like I just showed you here, you could draw this line, right? But then when that one broke, look at what happened. It did go a little bit down, but not quite. But then you saw me go like this and draw it up like this. It's because hindsight's 2020, right? I can draw the trend line to make it look right. But in the moment, you would have had this trend line, right? Then it faked you out, went higher. So I like to, when I draw my trend lines, I always look for more than just one touch. So like right here, this was one, this was kind of two if you consider the wick. So I would kind of validate this a little bit, but you could easily just be like, oh, nope, just one touch, right? If you're using the wick. If anything, I like this because you want the trend to be more prevalent and not as steep. The less steep, the better. To me, it makes it a lot more likely to be followed. So then when it does get broken, it makes more sense that it actually is good. All right. Let me grab my drink and I'll be right back. Ooh-ah. Alrighty. Some of the views are pretty awesome for like the overheads and stuff at the Vegas Grand Prix. Pretty excited. It's gonna suck waking up that that next day, but we shall see. Joe Flacco is visiting the Browns today. Are you serious? Oh my God, you're not lying. Oh no, Joe, you can't do that to us. You can't go play for the Browns. Dude, tell me Joe is not just the coolest dude ever. Casually wins Super Bowl MVP, wins the Super Bowl, and just collects a check for how many more years? The dude he's a legend. He played the system so perfectly. He did not take the contract, knew that he had to perform, wins Super Bowl MVP, gets paid out the wazoo, has like 7 kids, 17 maybe, I don't even know at this point, and just collects a check. Insane. What was it like the Jets? Wasn't he on the Eagles? Yeah, he was on the Eagles for a while. I'm trying to think of all the teams that he just collected checks. He was even on the Broncos, wasn't he? Wasn't he on the Broncos at some point? Trying to think. The Broncos is where he went first, wasn't it? He ended with the Jets. I remember that. But and he was he with the Eagles? I feel like I remember him being with the Eagles. I don't remember. I'd have to look it up. But dude, he was one of the more underrated quarterbacks of all time just because of how lanky he was. I mean, he was underrated from the get. Coming out of Delaware, dude, I love Joe, dude. I, he was he was great. He was the first jersey I ever bought after Ray Lewis. Like I would always just wear my Ray Lewis jersey everywhere. But when Flacco came around, I loved him. Now Tucker, Justin Tucker, his rookie year, I bought his jersey, and you can ask my dad, you can ask my brother, you can ask anybody. Mark is taking a little poopy here. I said because I used to kick field goals just for fun before Tucker came around. Like it was kind of like my thing. I always used to be like, oh, I could have totally went to college kicking a football because I was a big soccer player, but then I started kicking footballs. I remember the reason I even got into kicking footballs was because I remember watching these NFL kickers miss such easy kicks. And so I would go out there and I'd be like, is it really that hard? So I'd go out there and, I could hit up to like 57 was my longest field goal I ever made. There was one time I made a 50 yarder that I swear would have been good from 60 plus, but I just never had like that extra leg strength to get past that point. But I was pretty consistent. Like anything inside 50, I was really consistent. But anyways, geez, was there news or something? There's no way there was news. I think this is so here we go. Right? We broke down through. This is all happening too fast. What is going on here? Look at that reclaim. We're still, as the guy would say, there's still no reason to be in this trade because we're still in a downward trend. But anyways, did we name our dog after him? Yeah. So I didn't. Whenever we get a pet, it's always been we don't name the pet, like we don't pre-name our pets. So we'll put them down in like the living room and we'll sit in like a circle and we'll just start throwing names, and then whichever name he reacts to will, like, that's what his name ends up being. So like we'll say one, if we see that he's reacting, we'll start throwing other names, and then if we throw that name out there again and he reacts to it again, then we keep it going. And that's how it works. But anyways, what I was getting at with the whole me kicking and stuff like that is I knew how important like the fundamentals and being technical and doing the same thing over and over again. Now this comes from like bowling, just like I knew like certain things in life, like it's all about the routine and doing it the same exact way every single time. And kicking field goals is one of those things, right? You have one job. You have to line up either on the left hash, the middle of the field, or the right hash. You have a certain distance and you have to kick it through the field goal post. That's it, right? That's your job. So if you can not be Sebastian Janikowski, where every single time you step up and kick that ball as hard as you can, hoping that it goes through the uprights, but you can kick it 75, 80 yards, that's not going to work long term, right? You're going to look cool probably doing it, but it's not going to work long term. Now, if you're like Justin Tucker, which he still can kick it 66 yards, obviously, but if you can do the same thing every single time so that you're super accurate, that is the key to success. And in his rookie year, I saw that within the first like 8 games when we picked him up, because we picked him up off free agent. He was a free agent. I was like, this guy is legit. And I mean, I was like so all in on this guy. Like I was like, I remember saying he was going to be the best kicker in the NFL. I didn't mean like ever, but I meant like then and there. And there was a lot of good kickers then. You had like Vinatieri, you had who was the guy? What's the other guy? Oh, I'm drawing I'm having a brain fart. It wasn't Vinatieri. I mean, it was Vinatieri, but there was another guy at this. Why am I drawing such a brain fart? Yeah, Gostowski, Steven Gostowski. That was the other guy. Just those two at the same time is what I was getting at. Like back then, but then Justin Tucker was coming through, and it's like, holy crap! I mean, you even had Matt Stover, who used to play for the Ravens, who was amazing, but he couldn't kick it 50 yards. And that dude was one of the most accurate kickers of all time, but he had no leg, like, and that's why they had to get rid of him, because they literally didn't have someone who could kick field goals over 40, 45 yards. But yeah, I was all in on Tucker from the get, and I mean, and then he just turned out to be an awesome dude too. Like if you ever look into his personal life and like his opera singing, and he's a great actor for like all the local commercials that he does. Like he's just a great person. Oh, there's the bell. Oh no, not even the bell yet. There's the bell. This is some volatility to the downside here. Dawson. You're lying. You know it was you named him Dawson because of Dawson's Creek. Don't lie. Don't lie. Oh, it's phlegm, man. Uh-oh, is today the day maybe? Telling you my spidey senses are tingling. Spidey senses are tingling. So now what would you do? You still so with this strategy, do you always wait for that area? So like is there no trade down here or would you have to go find another trade? Is the whole day ruined like if you just stay below that line all day to Mimi? Or are you supposed to go find another line? I mean, are you just looking for general areas? Not general areas, but like obvious areas, I should say. I mean, there's a pretty good one here. Put it on the chart just to see. Definitely gonna let things settle in before I do anything options wise. But I am watching the options today. That's gonna be my main focus. Man, I really need a haircut, but I'm trying to wait until like next Wednesday. Kids are off all next week, so no promises I'll have the best streams going next week. Let me look at the calendar before I ask the wife what her plans are for the week. Get back down to the 1 minute now that we found that line. Wednesday, yeah. That's actually kind of why I want to do it on Tuesday because I feel like a lot of people are going to be going on Wednesday. Friends, school. Yeah, let me just ask her. Yeah, man. He did not. I mean, that's got to be some kind of like fractured bone in his wrist or something. I mean, what else would cause that kind of pain? Unless it's just a really bad sprain and like it feels fine like in a certain position, but then like once you like go to cuz like if you think about it when your hands like this, till you grip to so like when you think about throwing a football, come through, it's that last little wrist turn. And so it's either got to be like a really bad strain or sprain or there's a bone in there that's not sitting right. If it's swollen as hell, then he's probably got some kind of a fracture or something. Because think about it, when you're holding it like this and you're coming through, like the bone might be sitting fine, like he might not feel it as much. But then like when you go to like that, if you noticed, it was like right when he was about to release the ball is when it got him. So it might be like the fracture might be opening kind of thing, and that's probably why it's like not feeling good. I mean, that's the only thing I could think of. That makes sense. That would be, I mean, that would be my guess. See, now I'm confused because I guess it always has to go in the direction of the trend, and you'd be looking for the other trend. So we would need this to go back up through, break the trend, which I guess at this point, this could be the break, right? I mean, this is actually kind of setting up to what he had. It came up, broke this, kind of stayed here, and then went higher. But this is obviously still trying to go lower. I don't know. I'm very bearish at the moment, and I know a lot of people are, and I feel like it's for the right reasons, but we'll see what happens overall. I didn't even think I totally forgot about the opening trade. I wonder if it would have worked. Where's it's the 9:30 candle? No, it was this one. Ooh, yeah, I don't know. Looks like it went up and down. I only need 12 ticks for that opening trade, but I don't know if that would have worked or not. I wasn't. I'd have to go back. You know what? I can go back and watch it real quick. Let's see. Let's see. Sales. Um, I mean, it would have worked to the long side. That was quite the reclaim. I remember this now. But the big candle it made like 20 seconds before open, I don't think I would have traded it. So there's that. I guess you guys can see that now when I full screen. I'll try not to do that. Sometimes I pull out. It's David's stream. I like to watch him throughout the day as well. I like to cheer on my buddy. make this bigger. Excuse me, sorry, I mean cough in your ear. Well, wow, look, we made it all the way down to this next level. I guess we should go find the next one. See? I literally didn't I just say this? Who was I talking to this morning? To Mimi, I think it was. I was like, I think we at least try to fill the gap. I mean, look at this. Under here, there's nothing. It's where it starts to get a little hairy. We can just draw this line and make this one like super big. Cuz if it gets below here, uh got nothing really holding it in place until down here. Which obviously it can make that kind of a move in a day, so I'm gonna put the line on here just in case. I mean, the only issue I see is this is the bell volatility, right? So you tend to get a little bit sharper of a move, but still following the overall trend, right? Like we're still in a downward trend. There's nothing to say that we're not. But I know how this goes. We'll probably end up green. uh, Surprisingly too, let's put the yeah, I was gonna say we haven't really hit the bands at all. I haven't heard the alert go off. Oops. Ah. New all-time highs incoming. That's what dude, I would not be surprised. I mean, this could just be a giant fake out. If they were going to fake out though, I think they would come down and test underneath here, right? Cuz if you look at the bigger picture, you have to believe looking at this that there are stop losses just chilling right here. There has to be. You even like even if you're looking for trend lines to draw somewhere, I mean they're all getting broken on this move down right now. This has obviously been I don't even have to draw this line. It's just yesterday's close. But I mean look it's been used a bunch. Same area. Pretty interesting. I think we're making a decent little move back up here. Sending me. Snow Joe? That's, oh, it's one of the electric ones too? Oh, that's cool. Guys, we are in a day and age where we do not need to shovel our driveways anymore. They literally have these little handheld fucking electric guys. Oh my god, look at that. Oh my. Well, I need one of those. We have a regular old school gas snowblower, but if you just have like a smaller house and you're just doing this is cool. That's pretty, and it's $34. Is that a joke? There's no way that's only $34. With the battery, not a chance. The Snow Joe, it's got to be a knockoff of the Sun Joe. Santa was yes. you oh my god. The video is cool, but what my mom sent me the link, it's not that. I was like, there's no way that's $34. It's not. I am curious though. Let's see the snow. Oh, I can't. Snow Joe. Yeah, it's $160. But it's pretty darn awesome. Like especially like if you're old, I'm not shout out to the old people, but you don't have to you don't have to shovel. Just press a button. Just push the shovel and press a button. Uh all right. Let's take a gander scanner real quick. We can find anything worth looking at. See now it sucks because now with the big down move, this is why you have to probably give it at least like an hour, maybe like 10:30 for the market to kind of make its initial move because the initial move is going to pretty much bounce right off that line. Um going to kind of determine what the premium is for everything for the rest of the day. Let's see if there's up one here, yeah. So I mean, obviously there's still some bull like it's still bullish because I have this set up to where when the fear starts setting in, probably pop up there. Only one right now. God, that's so expensive. Broadcom Inc. 14 days. Let's see. Out of curiosity. What are we looking at? The 1020, 1025, 14 days out. So 100 to make, or make 100 to lose 400. That's pretty good. Considering the delta, it's about 76% likelihood that this would work. What's the volume on these? There's like no volume in this. That's the only issue. Yeah, so we're gonna pass on that. That's one thing I need to start looking at is the volume. I've noticed that that can be an issue. Pretty decent though. I feel like that's actually a pretty good trade. A lot of what I've found is with these spreads, you're more so risking, you're looking for a 10% gain, and that's a 25% gain. So it's pretty good. Yeah, profit ratio. Maybe set that. Oh, you spread profit ratio. This is above 30. Set that over here. I mean, I should be able to set it anywhere. Let's say naked put ratio. Profit. IGKKEFXP, what I'm looking for. Let's make sure we're not missing anything real quick on this. All right, so we're coming up to this trend line. Looks like we're actually breaking this trend line. But look at this move. So now, right? Now the entry would be here, but where's your stop? This is so to Mimi, are you here? Where would your stop be on this? You can't put your stop all the way down here. I mean, unless this is the break of trend that you were looking for, I guess your entry would have had to have been down here. Like here, like on like this little pullback of whatever this was, like right here. That would have had to have been your entry, I guess. Let's see. I'm a little confused. Yeah, I mean, maybe is this just a no trade then, I guess, for that strategy? Unless you draw sharper trend line. I guess you this. Right? You get the break, shoots up, comes down, retests. But no, like you would this would be this would be where you're looking for it to break, right? Then you would put your stop down here. Be looking for, I don't know. This this feels like it would be complicated because I feel like you wouldn't have wanted it to go down this far for this trend line all the way up here. But it's like you could draw this is more of a short-term trade though, right? So we're not looking for that. We'd still be looking for this trade, but the problem is it went too far below that initial line. And it's getting faked out. And this is kind of my point, right? Like in real time, you take that trade just on the break of the trend line. Sure, you got a little bit more of a push, but now look at it. But now I could just go like this and be like, oh yeah, we're good. Waiting for the trend line to break. Like that's dude, the people on YouTube talking in hindsight just kills me. Let these options expire, and then we can get some volatility next week. Yeah, maybe. All right, let's I want to put called profit ratio. What we're looking for. Let's type profit. Profit margin. That's for stocks max return on margin. Annualized. Maximum profit in US for strategy at expiration. Why would you want to max that? Spread specific. Spread profit ratio. Why is it not spread? Because under this, no. I mean, I think this is what we're looking for, but it doesn't come up. But we're supposed to be spread according to the strategy return. Oh, maybe we have to put risk in. Probability of max profit. That to be about 70. Zillow popping up here. A lot more. It says there's a lot more volume, but this is a 33%. Look, the AVGO is actually going up. I don't understand why it's not up screen. Take a look at the Zillow. What is this? Max profit 31 earlier. Yeah, that's something I'd be more interested in. I don't want to be risking $420 on my trade. Let's see here. Trade options. That's yeah. I need to start paying more attention to how far out. Yeah, see, that's 35 days. Well, it could be good because then it would give me the option to possibly roll and stuff and start learning how to do this stuff without risking too much. 12/22, 35 days, 44.46. Sell call, 40. Buy call, 6. There we go. 33 to 67 is volume 0. Absolutely 0. All right. So obviously can't take that trade either. You could try, but the odds are you're not going to get that. If you take a look, the spread is 24 to 39. So even if you try to get the middle, I mean, possibly, but I mean, it says 0 volume. There is some open interest, but it's all higher. They're looking for 70. It says open interest 1. So the odds of us getting filled there are next to none. All right. I really wish I could find spreads. Let's go back specific. Let's see, there's risk. Very interesting. Need to figure out how to make that work. Catch up with you guys real quick. See where we're at. Oh, we're right back to that trend line. So to me, like I don't understand how you would trade that. You can't, that can't be a trade there. Doesn't make any sense, right? The stop would be way too far away. You're essentially looking for a downtrend or an uptrend, break a key area, change direction based off of that. But see, now the problem is I think ideally what we'd want is for this to come back down, keep bottoming out here, come back up, and on the bigger time frame. But the problem is your stop loss is way too far away. Next week is not good volume. Thanksgiving week. That's true. I wouldn't trade this in the middle of the range. Either wait for a double bottom and go long off of that lower, wait to short. Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like that strategy from earlier, I would have to look more into it, but I don't see how you could trade that with this chart, right? Because the initial range that we were looking to trade was up here, right? So when it broke there and went all the way down here, there's no way that you can trade looking to break this line to make to this line and risk under this line. That's less than a 1-to-1. It wouldn't make any sense. But jumping in for this downtrend, to me, is kind of what I was looking for. That would have been actually a really good entry. Trend line and resistance line. But that was such a sharp candle down. I don't see how you would have got in on that candle unless you just assumed that those lines were going to hold. But you could definitely jump in here, risking here, right? I'd want to put it like here. This line here. But I can't be getting in all the way down here. You're chasing at that point. You'd want it to be closer to the trend line. Another pop up here, maybe over time, and then like maybe get to like here. Could be nice. And then look for the big drop back down. Just an obvious stop right above here. Top of this candle, through these candles. Pretty obvious stop area. But that can also be a problem with stops, right? Because they know that's an obvious area. So it's like go up higher. But then a lot of times these stops make a move happen, which then go up to the next stops. And it's just, it's crazy how often that happens. It's funny. If you like volatility trading, check out the markets are hot when this one is not. I knew we had like 4 points again on SPY. Yeah, I'm. It's funny. I've actually highly been considering changing my name of the channel because I feel like I want to sort of get away from the volatility type trading. That was more geared towards day trading, and to be completely honest, I'm not sure I want to really be day trading. I feel like I don't mind like the longer term day trading at this point, but like the scalping and stuff, like I know I have a knack for price action and I'm pretty good at it, and I probably will try again at some point. But right now, I'm more geared towards trying to become a little bit more hands off. Not if you are a loser. There's only one O in loser. Loser. No, I'm just kidding. I kind of want to jump in. Keeps getting shoved down. But it's probably just a fake out. Bounced right off this previous line here. Pretty obvious line. It's almost like a somewhat of a weird head and shoulders. Shoulder, head, shoulder, neckline. Here. If it can get back up to this area, definitely be thing to the upside. Be breaking a lot. You'd be breaking this trend line. You'd be breaking back into that early morning area. Be a lot going for it to the upside. Knives, what's up, man? Um, yeah, I'm not really looking to trade. I did grab an account, but I'm not really looking to trade too much today, if at all, day trading wise. All right. Definitely interested in what it does here at this trend line slash support resistance area. I feel like right now it's a 50-50 type trade because sure, you can look at the overall trend is going down, but very easily start to see how we're starting to do this. So kind of wedging here. Yeah, knives. I said it earlier too. The strategy that I'm trying to trade is profitable. I am not profitable. Like I am the problem. Do or do not. There's no try. I agree. That's a very bold, direct statement that I love. Do or do not. It should just be never, like never just try. Do or do not. Never just try. That's a good one. I like that. The strategy, just scalping the intense moves away from support and resistance. Just looking for the retest. Nice little move through the trend line it was forming there. I'm actually going to write that one down. I like that. I might have to come back to that. Good one, Knives. Thank you. Do or do not. Never just try. Give you credit for the thought, but not the final product because I made it better. I mean, my initial strategy that I'm what I consider if I can actually just wait for it to happen is drawing key areas like this, looking for a big move through it, and then looking to get the move back for the retest. That's it. That's my strategy in a nutshell. It's it's pretty simple, but it can't grind. It can't grind like this. You need to have like a big intense move because the more intense the move, the more probability it's gonna retrace. Yoda? My mentor taught me that. Yoda? What is Yoda? I don't even know what that is. Pivot action? See, I've never had success with the pivots. I use them as stops, they fake me out. I use them as entries, they fake me out. Like I feel like pivots are tough. They have to be like a super long term type trade. Oh, there is no try. Wait, is that where that comes from? Oh, you're just saying that in Yoda voice. I know who Yoda is. I thought you guys were talking about some strategy called Yoda. That's why I was confused. Levitate my account, Yoda. Yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. I got it. I got it. I was never a big Star Wars, Star Trek guy, but I mean, I know what Yoda is and who Yoda is. All right, what's that AVGO? Let's see. Nothing on the puts. I really, 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 really want to figure out. This doesn't work. Anything pretty recent. Still got this Riley. So this was a good one. I found this one. It had this big move on earnings and it popped all the way back up on this day here, which was the 14th. It was Tuesday. And there was an option for a $15 strike, is all the way down here, essentially right there, for $70 premium that expired today. This was on Tuesday. So in my eyes, I mean, I see this volume. Oh, you guys can't see the volume, but it's like look at that volume on earnings, and then for it to come all the way back up there, the odds of by the end of the week this getting all the way back down to 15 was just so unlikely, like just from a technical standpoint and just from a volume standpoint. And I didn't have the funds in my account to take this trade. I would have this would have been my first trade had I been there. I actually had it on my watch list and everything. And one of the guys I talked to that I've been talking to about options, he did take the trade and he actually rolled it to he rolled it to try to make more money off of it. Um, was he rolled it to 20, which it still expires today. So he's kind of watching it pretty close for, but he made an extra like 35 bucks off of it. Oh, dip down below that line. Look at that retrace. Crazy. Look at the volume there. So had this went say even like halfway, that's where I would be looking to take a trade. I might even have took that trade. And I would have been looking for it to come retest that line. Because if there's one thing that you see a lot is when there's key areas, they tend to get retested, right? Look, came down, which we could obviously go back further with this line, but went up, tested, came down, went up, retested. Now, keep in mind, that's just a range, but even when you break down to another line, which this line was drawn off the daily, or the 15-minute, I didn't draw this line. This line was there before it touched it, right? It was here. Look, I drew that line before it touched it. So breaks down through, you get this move to that line, and then look, it goes up and retests that previous line. I mean, look at this move. Holy smokes. What a reclaim. And that could have just been the big money, right? Clearing the stops. Who knows, right? We'll never know. All we can do is put the odds in our favor. That's all we can do. Have I backtested it? Yeah. Well, it's hard to backtest on in hindsight because you don't know the intensity of the move. You can see big candles, but just because there's big candles doesn't always mean it was an intense move. Like that that's kind of why I pride myself on saying like I like to trade price action because I like to see the price action as it's happening. Anyone can look at candles after the fact and say whether something would have worked or not. Because you don't know it's a trend until it's a trend. That's a lot of people are like, "Oh, trend your friend, just trade the trend." It's like I just showed you earlier how that's not the case, right? When we were trying to trade this trend, look, this actually had one, two, three, four touches, right? So if you're finally like, all right, I'm gonna get in and follow the trend, well, it gets broken and then it comes all the way back down. So if you're playing counter trend, you got stuff there. If you're getting in on that candle, like you would have to wait for some kind of a retest there above this line. But now, after the fact, I can just do this, right? Because the candle's already happened. And now I can say, oh yeah, we're still in a downtrend. You don't know what the trend is until the trend's already happened. That's the problem with a lot of people is they don't understand like you can look at a million charts and determine where the trend was because you can see it. But if you're like go like this, you're telling me at this point you knew that we were going to bounce all the way back up there? You don't. Like you don't know that. It's the hindsight it just kills me. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. A lot of these trades that you're taking based off of trends are so 50-50. And that's what I've geared my entire day trading career around is not taking 50-50 trades. You can take 50-50 trades if you're making 2 to 1, but you better be 50% because if you're not 50%, you're not going to be profitable. The Alexa in my living room was just playing some random Spanish music. Should I be worried? Knives, you build that just through doing it. Let me ask you a question, both of you, Infinitely and Knives. If you could backtest a strategy and it works, don't you think everyone would have found that strategy by now? My wife's boyfriends. All right, a break of this level here, a push through, a retest. To me, that's a pretty solid entry. But I just don't know where you'd put your stop. I mean, that's always been my problem. Like, where do you put your stop? Backtesting is very easy because you're using results. Results don't happen until the results happen. It's really that simple. Yeah, but you can't put it just below your entry because you're going to get stopped out. get stopped out. Yeah, stopped out, but you're gonna get chopped out way too often. And that actually proves my point, Knives, is backtesting is only going to get you so far, is what I was essentially getting at. And what you just said is evidence to that. Well, would you look at that? Yet another fake out to the upside so far. And watch this. Ready? I'm making a YouTube video. Oh, look, we just held that trend line. Like if this goes down the rest of the day, I can be like, see, look, all you had to do is get in at the top of the trend line there. Like, I'm not trying to be a dick, but it's just what a lot of people do. Like they're all hindsight traders. I agree. I totally agree with you. What a reclaim though. Look at that. I've said right now something fishy's going on in the market anyway, so I really don't want anything to do with it if we're being honest. So, I mean, I'm still going to watch it for something crazy, but I'm not really interested until we get the pullback. I just feel pretty certain that there's some kind of a macro pullback that's going to happen. It's just a matter of when. It could be next year, but it's going to happen. Like I see, like if we're looking at the SPY, I was looking at this yesterday. I don't want to say we're going to come all the way back down here. I don't think we will, but that is definitely in the realm of possibility. This 350 area. I would think I would think just a healthy pullback would be like 400, right? Like some kind of a actual pullback. But for us to just assume that we could just go straight up like this with everything going on in the world right now, it doesn't make any sense. You can't tell me people have all this extra money laying around to just pour into the markets. Not a chance. Not a chance. This is just like we're trying to combat inflation. This price feels inflated, like super inflated. Obviously, my personal opinion, not financial advice, but it's just how it feels. Realize risk to reward. I mean, again, that's just part of your strategy. I know people that win 90+% of their trades and aren't profitable. I was one of them. I learned how to not let that happen by lowering the amount that I was willing to lose on a trade, but then it also lowers your win rate a little bit sometimes because some of the trades get away from you. Or some of the trades that would have worked out in the past don't work out anymore because you're hitting a max loss. There's there's a fine line, and finding that line is where it's at. If you can find that line and you can take advantage of it, there's your edge. How many payouts do you got? I don't even know enough about spread trading to talk about it, but I know a lot of people don't do it. So It seems like it'd be very hard to do. Let's see how David's doing. 35 buckaroos. All right. I mean, I don't even know what kind of a play I'd be looking for here. Like I said, I mean, now this looks like it's holding the trend line, but was it 5 minutes ago? It looked like it broke the trend line. So right now, it does seem to be holding this resistance area pretty well. I think I'd be more interested at this point in the support and resistance areas that more so than the trend line. Never traded futures for real, but once in a while I win moo paper competitions. It's one of the True, it's one way of doing it. It's your job to know the stats of your system scalping. Well, yeah, that's why journaling matters. Bigger high RR works. The key is to find what works for your brain, which you are still trying to find. Yeah. The thing is, what I was doing, I enjoyed and it was working. It's just in equities, it stopped providing itself. Looking for equities that would have a high, break through that high, would then most likely always retrace and a lot of times give back even more, depending on the type of company it is. It stopped presenting itself. So now I find myself looking for, I was looking to see if that would work here in futures, which it was for a little while. But then we had those like 2 or 3 days these past couple weeks where the market just went straight up, where there was just no pullback. I mean, like, look at this move here. Even on this move here, there wasn't really any pullback. So in order, you'd have to be looking at it from more of a macro side of things. I kind of want it. This looks like a short to me. You do have like the overall trend still kind of to the downside. You've tested this multiple times. You have a very obvious stop level. And I was going to say it's starting to make lower highs. But if this candle gets up through here again, then we're not making lower highs anymore. This feels like it could break lower and you have a pretty obvious stop. But that stop feels like if it can get through it, is probably going to have a push up to go back green on the day, which is just crazy. Spread trading is like 4x easy bets, but small ones. I think it works a lot of times. If you win 80% of your trades, it's really hard to not be profitable. That's not true. Dude, I remember when I first started trading, the strat that I was using, I was winning, I think it was like 93%. It was like 92.6%. And I wasn't profitable. I could win 93 out of 100 trades and I wasn't profitable because those 7 trades that I would lose were just that bad. You can't, that's what I'm saying. It varies per strategy. You can't go in with a 94% win rate or 93% win rate and expect to get 2 to 1 on your trades. It's just not going to happen. You'd be lucky to get 1 to 2. I remember the stats on those trades. I think I was one to, I think it was like 1 to 5 was the general ratio. That's what makes it a high win rate. If you're trading 80% with a 2 to 1 risk reward ratio, you you would not be sitting here talking to me. You'd be a professional trader that is making a boatload of money. Yeah, I get what you're saying, dude, but every strategy does it differently. All right. I don't usually stop talking to somebody, but you're kind of making me want to. Yeah, I don't think you understand how trading actually works. It might work that way for whatever strategy that you're implying, but you're not taking into account the other types of strategies that are out there. You're basically telling me do this because it works, but why are you sitting here telling me go do it? That's why I always ask, like, show me that it works. You show me proof that what you're saying works. You show me like proof in one way, shape, or form. I'll sit here and have a conversation with you. But all you're doing to me is spitting out facts that I already know not to be true. And I'm not one to sit here and try to argue. I'm just telling you how it is. I'm telling you what I've seen from personal experience. I'm not telling you what I think. Don't you think everybody would do that though? Do you think people want to fail or just start with failure? Like I don't understand what you're getting at. How many years of experience? I've been trading since the end of 2018. How about you? And what I mean by that is every day. Like every day, the market's been open since August of 2018. So you're an AMC GME hopper. That's a, remember that show Quantum Leap? That's what the people that came in 2020 remind me of. There's nothing wrong with it. I just think it's funny that it took something like that to draw people to the market. And then it's like a lot of people from 2020, you could have all you had to do was buy something and it worked. Like it reminded me of like what people would talk about with the .com era, where all you did was just buy something and it just worked. And then everyone thinks they're a genius. Well, guess what? Go on YouTube, find all the people that did the same thing. They came in 2020 and all they did was win. And now all they're doing is talking about how they're struggling, trying to imply the same strategy of just like they think they know what they're doing, but they don't have the experience. They just came in when it was right to buy. And a lot of people just risked a lot more than other people and they made a lot of money. So they're like, oh, this is easy. And now they're starting to find out it's not. So have you, I mean, how old are you? Have you traded real money before? Froggo. Yeah, I've been paying attention to it well before 2018, but that was when I actually started trading. Like I used to just pay attention to the overall market, not anything crazy. 38, nice. I'm 38 as well. What's real money? It's all fun coupons. Yeah, CMEG, I always used to call CMEG the necessary evil because I used it too. I used SureTrader first, then I went to CMEG until I built up the account to switch over to the US broker. But CMEG, I always called it that, the necessary evil. It was like if you wanted the day trade, you had to use them because there was nothing else out there. Now you theoretically could use like these prop firms. Like there's that Trade the Pool, which is a prop firm for equities. You could try to get into a real prop firm. I remember that when I called them once and I got the bill for the international call. I was like, what the heck is this? So I was so pissed. And then from that point on, I would always use their chat. And if they didn't answer chat, I'd tell them to call me. No, you call me. Because they were always like, well, call support. And I'm like, no, you call me. What's up, Zishan? I did, but I'm not really trading. I'm more so watching. I bought it just because it was 90% off. Yeah. Yep, exactly. I have it, so if like I'm more so going to be looking for longer term trades and stuff like that. I'm not going to be looking to scalp like I was. And if I do, it's going to be like I was saying on this move here. I'm going to be looking for like the bigger macro type scalps, not get caught up in the chop. So I'm just going to draw out big levels, look for big pushes away from those levels, and then look for them to retest. I think that's just going to be my general overall strategy. Now I'm probably going to use a bigger time frame too. I'm just watching it on the 1 minute because it's a little bit easier to watch. So like I would have been looking for. I mean, this was actually a pretty good one here. Came right down to it. I just don't know where I would get in. I mean, I that's the only problem. I've always struggled with that. It's like, do you wait for the break of the previous candle? Like, because then it's like then you're lowering your risk to reward ratio there. I feel like scaling into a position isn't necessarily a bad thing, but you're trading mini contracts, it can add up pretty quickly. But I feel like as long as you're near key areas, you should at least get chances to get out, per se, if you have to. A buy and hold account with Top Step. Wrong boat. The PA account? Yeah, I fucked that up, man. That was I went on tilt. I was having a pretty rough day, and then I actually made it all back. That last day I was on stream, I made that loss back, the $300, and it was I could probably show you. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take one more long. I'm gonna get up like $50. I made it all back plus commissions. It was good. Um, I want to say it was here. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was here. It was this move here. I started it on this candle. I started it on this candle here. It came down further. I don't think I added. And then it came all the way back up. And I think my take profit was like right here. And it just didn't get to me. And then it started to come back down. And yeah, I mean, you can see the rest. I think I added in, I want to say it was this candle. And then I added one more time on this candle. And this is as far as it got. And then on this drop, I think it was on this candle here is where it stopped me out. It sucked. Just that's kind of what's got me thinking that the overall market is just kind of like can't predict it, man. You just gotta far back was you gotta just I think I feel look at the bigger picture. Oh yeah, I guess I can change that to 50% off. Oh yeah, the Ravens look good though. GDT still yeah, he told me that last night. I should just do that. Don't think I want to do that. I mean, for the division, yeah. But as far as, I mean, I don't ever want to see them get hurt. I mean, the Browns still beat us even without Watson. Or, well, Watson played the rest of that game. Wrong, Bo. Yeah, I posted two videos. Didn't I? Think I posted a video when I blew up, and then another video basically saying I was gonna take a break, which was yesterday. Which I am taking a break. I'm just kind of here, mainly just because of the sale, to be honest. Work. It's National Hiking Day. Ooh. Today would actually be a really nice day to go out on like the trail or something. And it's supposed to be like 60 some degrees, 68 degrees or something like that. Watson, one of the worst trades in history, 100%. The elite QB is on the way to save the day. Damn right. Flacco himself, baby. I just found that out earlier. Paul mentioned it. At first I was like, no, but I mean, you got to respect the dude collecting these paychecks like he has been ever since that freaking MVP season. Talking about your truth and transparency posting your Discord, typical Furu stuff. What do you mean? Oh, you're saying you didn't see it in the Discord? I don't think I necessarily posted it in the Discord, but I was talking about it with the other guys. I'm not, you know, at this point, if you don't know that I'm not hiding anything, then sorry, I'm not hiding anything. If I didn't post something, it wasn't because I'm hiding it. It's because I just didn't post it. Well, now it looks like we're in this range. So we went from the range up here, 920 to 880. All now we're from 880 to 820, 830. Got 50. This was about 50. We got 50-point ranges here this morning. Are you muted? No. You thought it was national. Oh my god. Did you guys see Green Day is touring again? And bought tickets. We're gonna go see him in Philly. Pretty excited. I was so Chili Peppers, Linkin Park, and Green Day are my top three bands, and now I'm gonna be lucky enough to see all three of them in concert. Waited way too long. Got to see Linkin Park right before Chester decided to leave us, and then Chili Peppers. I was actually really kind of upset about that concert. I was super excited to go to that concert, and it was a giant letdown to me. They played 85% of their new stuff. And don't get me wrong, it wasn't like it was bad. It's just that's not why everyone was there, man. Like I get that you want to promote the new stuff. That's the whole reason for touring. But when you're a band like the Chili Peppers, like you have to at least play your top 5 to 7 hits, and they played like 3 of them. Like they didn't. And it's the thing. It's like sure it's overplayed, but that's the whole reason we're there is to hear that overplayed song in person. Like they didn't even play. They didn't play Under the Bridge. Um, they didn't play Other Side. There was so many songs that I was just waiting to hear that we never heard. It was like the night was going on and it was like, oh, we're gonna hear this. And then there was just like streaks of like 4 songs in a row of like the new stuff and like the whole stadium. We were at Hershey, PA at the stadium, and it was just quiet. It was just so quiet. Like no one's singing because no one knows the words to these new songs. And it was kind of depressing. Well, the short is playing out, coming back down to this line. I would suspect we're not going to go straight to it, but we could, obviously. This market obviously can do whatever it wants. But I would assume, based off of what we've been doing throughout the day, is we're starting to form a little bit more of a downward trend line. It will probably not come retest that before it does slow. Jesus. Gotcha. Yeah, I'm pretty stoked to see Green Day. Even like their new stuff, I did start listening to their new stuff. Especially the one that's been all over the radio. What's it called? Something about America. I can hear it in my head. I just don't know. Look, ma, no brains. The American dream is killing me. The American dream is killing me. American dream is killing me. The thing is, like, it sounds just like Green Day. Like when they started playing that song on the radio, it sounds like Green Day. Like the Chili Peppers, like I don't know, it was like them trying to modernize. I'm not saying it was bad music. It wasn't because like I've listened back to it since then and it's fine. Like I like it. It's just I wanted like I go to these concerts because I want to be brought back, you know? I want to think of those times in my life where I listened to these specific songs and they meant so much to me. And then to go to the concert and just not even hear the songs, like it's heartbreaking. Ugh. Papa Roach was my favorite song. Oh, Papa Roach is a band. Which are you talking about? Last Resort. This is my last resort. Suffocation, no breathing. Don't give a fuck if I got my up breathing. That was such a good song. Yeah, that's actually my wife's favorite song. Well, when we first met, that was her favorite song. I don't know what her favorite song is now. She's pretty into country music. So cool in high school. Dude, I like Good Charlotte, Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. That was like my high school song. That was the song when we drove into the parking lot at high school, windows down, blaring fucking Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. Love that shit. Yep, there it is, right off that little new trend line they formed. Think we might have a down day on our hands. See if anything else. Yeah, look, all the everything's going down, so nobody wants to pay premium for stuff that might be going up now. See if anything popped up on this scanner. Nope, still no. Take this off and see if it. How did I change this last night? Yeah, give us something. I had it so it would be in the specific area of the lower half of the Bollinger Bands, but see. Really, 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 really wish I could put this up. I guess because it's a spread, probably why it has that option. Bet you that is why. Let's see, QCOM 7 days. What's QCOM's chart look like? It's kind of right in the middle. Is it under 102? 127. Where is that? That's right under the current price. Not a chance in the world I would take that. Maybe if it expired today. Bump this up to 8. Let's see where we're at on this chart real quick. Heading back up to the trend line. Definitely a choppy type day. Yeah, country music in Texas, I can only imagine. Do you own a pair of cowboy boots and a hat? You force yourself to watch Roger Scott VIP. It's rough, but it's my education. No idea who that is. Yeah, TikToks we got going on here. Oh my god, what a disaster. Oh, look at this move. That guy. You got the whole outfit, even the big ass belt with the big old belt buckle. I told myself one day when I get all dressed up and spiffy and actually in shape, I'll get one of those just for fun. Colorado loves Texans because they love snow. It's so weird to me when I hear it snows in Texas. Horns on the front of your truck. Nah, I don't think I'd be doing that. I get carried away now. Let's not get carried away. Get the balls. Yeah, put the balls on the hitch in the back. It always cracks me up. Snowed, everyone freaked out. Road was closed and no one went to work. uh, it's just frozen water, guys. It's okay. It's not even technically frozen. All right. This market is kind of poo-poo. I don't want to. Oh, you know what? I can. No, I can't. Set up. Trying to think how I can watch this, but at the same time, look at. Let's move it. Then I can watch it and then drag it back over. 14 steel. Steel look like 32.5 strike. Not a chance. No idea what steel is going to do. Need something like more obvious. These are just so far out. That's the problem. But it makes you fly. We drive faster when it snows. Got to get first chair. First chair or what? For what? See, this is why I wanted to find stuff towards the top of the bands. It's kind of why I was looking into running these call credit spreads, because to me, they make more sense. I think we're going to struggle to move higher. I just don't know where to look. That's the problem. Expiration date. It's, maybe that's part of the problem. Max profit. This does not have to be above. Let's just do. And here we go. So there's no way this is going to have volume. IEP. 21 days. Let's do Burl for, or no. Well, yeah, look. When it starts going NA like that, it just, there's no volume. But here's a 1 to 3, which is in 7 days. BURL. Burl. Is that Burlington? We're at the bottom, which is not. That's interesting that it would actually. I would actually think I would want to sell a put here. They're saying a call credit spread. Let's see. 148 by 149, 7 days out. Sell a call. Saying 8 by 149. That's like super up there. Do they have earnings coming up? Is that what this is? 11/28. No, so it expires before earnings, but they do have earnings coming up. This has to be wrong. I bet you earnings is before that. Let's see. Go back to. Yeah, look. It's the 21st. Definitely, that's one thing I've noticed about Samurai, is the earnings dates have been off. It's the only thing that everything else about this has been amazing. But see, I have it set to show me only options that the earnings are after the expiration date. So this says it's on the 28th, but it's not. It's on the 21st. So, because that would be a pretty good play. I want to open a new one here and see if I do a. This is a bear call spread. So I would want a bullish put spread. Bull put. Sell oversold, sell out of the money, put spreads, good companies, margin of safety. Let's just try this. I really like this profit ratio. So it looks like it's that's what we're dealing with is the spreads have the profit ratio. Let's move this one over one. Okay. Oh, first chair as in going skiing slash snowboarding. Gotcha, gotcha. Really an old burned out snowboarder, now a night auditor, so I have all morning for stock market school on YouTube. Yeah. Dude, I wish I could find a night job right now. That would be perfect. I'm a night owl anyway, so I could trade during the day, sleep at night, or sleep like midday, wake up for the kids, go to work, come home, sleep until they wake up. So basically, I'd have to adjust my body to like sleeping twice throughout each day. So again, this resistance area is held, but the trend line did not. So here we go again. Hindsight, drawing a trend line. It takes night auditor experience. What I mean, what do you do? Isn't that just something? I mean, I guess there's different types of auditors. I guess it depends. Yeah, look, now Burrell's on this side of it too. See, I would feel more confident trading Burlington this way. What is this? That's a huge contract. Essentially saying it wouldn't go under 125. Got here. So that's a little too close. I'd be looking at stuff. Want it to at least be under 617. Let's see. It's today, obviously. Oh, that's right, because of the earnings. Keep forgetting the earnings. I gotta stay away from that. Is this the one where we go through? A pretty big move down. I bet you. Oh, I guess you guys can't see. I was gonna say, I bet you my things start to go off. The bands. Bouncing right off that area for now. It's awful to sleep in shifts makes you angry. Yeah, well, I'm always angry anyway. I got 2 young kids. We used to check financial records for accuracy. Now we make keys and sleep, but that's a secret. Well, now I'm just going to find your employer, get you fired, and take your job. Just obviously kidding. Or am I? You don't know me. Go. Go. This is something I'd be interested in. I'd want to see it. I'd want to see a big old move down. It's already a pretty big move, but there it goes. Keep going. We can get a big move down here. I'm probably going to jump in this, but it's got to be like right now. Keep going. I really didn't want it to make this retest, which it is now. That's what I would have been looking for. I'd be looking for the big push down and then eventually getting the retest of that. But now it retested it once already, so to me, all the people that were gonna buy back up to that point, a lot of them are maybe gone now. Or we just go back up into the range and do this all over again. Try Vacasa. is that a company? Work for Walmart at night, 15 an hour? No. The thing is, right now, like I've been door dashing. I actually just signed up for Uber Eats, like because door dashing sometimes I think there's too many people dashing, so you don't even get the opportunity to always dash. Like if you don't schedule the time ahead of time. So I signed up for Uber Eats, which I think in the next day or two that should go through. But I'm making like 24. I've been keeping track. I have an Excel sheet. Could open it up. You can just trust me. I've been making around 24 an hour. Now, keep in mind, this is before gas. This is before wear and tear. This is before taxes. So, I mean, it probably comes out to like 15. But the thing is, I have no manager. I have no boss. I can do it when I want. And I'm doing it part time. So it's like I can go out whenever I have the extra time to do it. And that's that. So it's just extra money. Supposed to talk to a buddy of mine today that I'm used to play racquetball with all in the back in the day, and he was actually talking to me about possibly getting into the mortgage broker business. Anytime I hear broker, I know that it must be pretty good. Which I've talked to him about this before. I just couldn't make it work before because I was actually making money day trading. But right now I'm not. So I actually, funnily enough, funnily, that's definitely not a word. Funny enough, he had messaged me just about something random yesterday, and I was like, oh, speaking of which, how are things going business wise? He said right now it sucks. He said people aren't really buying right now, but he thinks with how the economy is working itself out that things could change in the next like 6 months or so. I get 22 with 401k, but that won't pay all the bills. Yeah. Property management company that does Airbnb and hotels. Nice. Not getting my real estate license. I have no interest in doing that. You would think, but he said it's not right now, at least in around here, it's not as bad. But I think we're gonna get hit. I do. I like I said, I feel like we're gonna have some kind of correction. How big of a correction? I don't know. Hopefully it's not too big, right? I don't want anything crazy, but I want it to be big enough to where I can put my son's money back in lower than where I took it out. So I don't feel like a complete asshole. We have a rental property. It's actually doing pretty well. It's definitely cash flow heavy. Just happens to be it was essentially a house hack because we live there. And then when we moved here, we just didn't sell it. Just we ended up renting it out. Yeah, Froggo, I'm on your side, man. That's it's exactly how it feels. And it's just a matter of when, not if. That's how I'm looking at it. Michael Burry bet on it. You know how everyone's saying, "Oh, Michael Burry closes $1.8 billion position, like put position or whatever." Well, that's how much he had paid to be in the position. And if you look at where he got into the positions, he could have easily have taken a lot off. I mean, I don't know if that's all public record or not, but he didn't lose $1.8 billion. It was just a $1.8 billion position. A lot different. Well, it's just like 2008. I mean, I'm sure you've all watched The Big Short at this point. Look how long they pushed that along, and the way that they made it look like in the movie, and which is how it probably was in real life. They were trying to be like, nah, no, everything's fine, everything's fine. What are you guys talking about? Everything's fine. And now the reason I think that, well, it's because he's smart. He's too smart. He sees what's happening. He just he's always early because he wants to get in knowing it's gonna happen. Yeah, exactly. No, I agree. But that's the problem. Like, you got to really step back and think macro. Like, we have an election cycle coming up. So, is it going to benefit Biden if the market's tanking while he's running to go another 4 years? Not no. It's going to look really good if the market's going up while he's running for reelection, right? So, that's why I'm saying it's not a matter of if, it's when, because it's gonna happen. But the crazy part is if they run it high enough, the eventual pullback will be less. And that's kind of, so it's funny. Let's go take a look at the SPY real quick. With the SPY, I said this during the COVID push. So crappy. So look at COVID, which is here, right? And then look at what it did after. We all knew that this was crap, right? They were pouring, they were printing money left and right to make the market do this, which is what I feel they're doing right now. But eventually, you know that you're going to get a pullback. But if they run it up high enough to where when you finally get that pullback, we were still above pre-COVID levels. And I honestly feel that that's kind of what they're trying to do now. They don't want the market to take place itself like on its own, because the odds are we'd probably get a pretty big nasty whiff of reality. But I think what they're going to try to do is maybe even run this to all-time highs, who knows, so that when we do finally get a pullback, it won't be that bad. But we'll see. I obviously I have no idea. I'm just some idiot on YouTube. I love these spam text messages. They're so easy to fuck with. All right. Let's go back to looking at these. Burlington's off the. Let's narrow this down a little bit. Profit. Don't need to make that much profit, especially if I don't want to risk that much. Let's risk below 250, right? Because that's our that's 1% of our account at the moment. I think I could be okay with that. Probability of max profit. Let's go a little higher. 80. I feel like 70 is like usually where these mostly go. So if we can get to 80, that's pretty awesome. All right, let's see. Then I don't want to go that far out, so rather stay close. 7 days. We got Burlington, which obviously we need to exclude that one, and Nvidia. So Nvidia just had earnings, it looks like. They're like way up, aren't they? Like 500? Yeah, Jesus. Somebody was talking about how they had sold covered calls on this at like 380 or something. It went like straight to 500. That's $120 on 100 contracts. That's insane. That's a oof right there. That's 12 grand. All right. This is not something I'd want to be buying. Put spread. This is something I'd want to be selling. Just see what it says. 450 or 450 250. So this is reading this. Oh, 450. We're at 490. For some reason, I thought we were at 450. Wow, that's like way down there. They really think we can get down to see 452. And it definitely could. Hold on, we are looking at monthly. Go down. 452 is all the way down here. It's a pretty big drop. 14 days. Let's see. What is it? Be 45. That's pretty good too. Let's see. Yeah, so 7 days, 1124. I kind of like this. Sell, put 452. Buy. See. There it is. So we'd actually get a credit. It's about a 1 to 4. Break even is 452 essentially. Have to be a pretty big drop to get down there. And then we could then learn maybe how to roll a little bit. Let's try a 55, see if we can get a better order. I kind of like this. Okay, let's go. Let's see if we can get a fill. Here we go. Possible first trade ever in options. See if we can get filled on the ask here. Trying to see if we can squeeze it out. I guess I should have checked the volume. There's plenty of volume here. Oh yeah, definitely plenty of volume. Guess a lot of people are choosing that 450 area because you saw there was a lot more volume there. It's just because it's a mental area. All right, I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick and grab another drink. See what happens. Yeah. This real quick. A screenshot. I mean, to me, this is starting small. Only I'm risking 1%. This is part of the edge that I am discovering. I've seen other people trade. Like I've done a ton of research on this, and I am talking to someone who I would hopefully consider a mentor moving forward, who's shown me lots of proof that he knows what he's talking about. It's 200. So I'm trying to get filled at 55. So it would be I could make 55 and lose 200 is what we're going for here. All right, I'm gonna go pee. I gotta pee. No fill. Think. Maybe we can try 54. let's just try. I'm not gonna fret over $5. I wanna be in the trade. I wanna get some skin in the game, shall we? Shall we say? Some skin in the game. You lost over $1 billion in a future sim, but started with 10 million. Now my reset accounts are all actually profitable. So I see it like I already saved $1 billion. I had a feeling that you would say something along those lines from our conversation we were having earlier. Oh, we're not even getting filled here. It's this 452.50 one. I think that it's kind of throwing it off. 455. Plenty. Look, now it's the price going up currently. It's trying to move up. Yeah, it's like you could play these like reclaims and like when it makes a low retest and then you get in for that. Like you see those work a lot, but all it takes is it not to work. But I mean, I guess you have a pretty obvious stop loss, but there's so many times it doesn't work too, you know? It's of course I was looking backwards and all 4 times this morning it worked. Let me just get in the trade and I'll show you that it doesn't work. We're back into the middle. Still nothing. Knives is a winner? I have no idea. Knives, are you profitable? You got proof you're profitable? I always ask the question not to be a dick, but just because a lot of people like to talk a lot, but they have no proof of what they're talking about is legit. I'm not saying Knives, you're one of those. I mean, Infinitely was one of them earlier, which is why I started to call him out a bit. Does it seem realistic to trade a sim with an amount that is unlikely to never be available? It's a very good point. I always tried to not do that. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't think we'd have any issue getting filled on this. Not going below 50. But just leave it there. Might actually go make my salad that I'm excited to eat. Actually, I'm going to make some chicken to put on top of it. Just organizing my email a little bit here. Oh boy. Foot Locker. Huh? See this? Send. Already had earnings. All right, I'm gonna let that sit. I like it. It ends up getting filled. Earnings on the 29th. So yet another one is incorrect. This says it already had. See if this moves while sitting here. My Ford stock is going up. My fractional shares. Let's go. When I first signed up, it gave the option. It's fractional shares of something. It was like $5 or something worth of fractional shares. Starting to I'm not gonna get filled. Especially if price starts going up. I do date this phlegm, man. I'm getting so sick of it. Do day trade for real, just not claiming to be profitable. All the day trading stuff works so perfectly on futures and sims. I was asking you if he's a winner. I'm a female married, no kids. Gotcha. I don't know. He's never answered or never told me, to be honest. Well, the reason it works on Sims is because you're not afraid of losing. And you'll also let things go further than you typically would on a sim. You don't stop out. I'm just going to get rid of this trend line because obviously it just keeps barely breaking the new one and then doing its thing. If anything, almost draw a way more flat one. Looks a little bit better. Did we get filled? Nope. I just wanted to see like some cool thing saying, "Oh, congratulations," or like some say it's like a video game now, but not working for me. I just want to get my feet wet, man. All right, well, I think I'm gonna go make my or start the chicken. I'll be right back. It's actually a good idea. Oh, 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 oh. Expecting a couple packages today. Is that them? We'll find out. I accidentally closed it. Right back. Ugh, still pending, huh? Uh, do 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 do. Asking you if he's. That's why you buy Tim Apex account. So act like it's sim and just practice. I hope you pro out. Link in the description. Yeah, but see what happens when a mental stop on a sim account doesn't work. You just let it go because it's a sim account. Who cares? That's the problem. But if it was a real account and the one time it doesn't work out, you blow up and you're done. Like you can't trade anymore. It's not a sim account where you can just click reset. Yeah, so you just said it yourself. The sim teaches me to YOLO, even though. So yeah, I never want. That's one thing with trading futures. I never once looked at the P&L. I didn't care. Like the P&L didn't matter. I was always just trading the chart. The heck? People want the chance to big numbers, but like, bro, that will come later. You need to focus on the long run. Yep, I agree. Feel me. You saying like me? In real life, Das has a panic button. Nah. Ugh. So what time?
Dang, still no fill. The ask even went up. Later, Jason. Sorry, I mean, break even and or just being cash all day is better than losing money. So you have a good weekend, man. Well, that's the thing too. It's like if you're only making a certain amount of money doing this on a daily basis, you're better off having a real job. So it's like either you have to push it and start scaling, or what's the point, you know? And if you're a longer term investor, like taking a 25K account with options, like you can't expect to double that in a year. So for the first 5+ years, you're just going to be slowly building that account. And then maybe after 5 years, you can be to the point where you can take some trades that would actually give you a yearly salary. Yeah, I broke that line. I don't think the market wants to be classified by a trend line today. It wants to be classified by support and resistance. Pretty obvious zone that we're in, that's for sure. The way that this one has kind of slowly built up instead of just going straight up kind of makes me feel like it actually might try to go higher. Okay. We'll try 40, 49. Dollar in the opposite or wrong direction. Raw go. Exactly. Literally exactly. I went back to it. I want the 50. Bots. Bots are back. Back again. They're really hard to this hard to get filled on these. Kind of depressing. Bear with me for a second. Holy loudness. All right. Yeah. I feel like having a job while you're getting started, as well as just like building everything up over time, was definitely the smart way to go.
Burning the bridge that keeps us. I'm here and I'm feeling fearless. Exaggerated, that's what you assume. The story's over now, I must conclude. I am conflicted, watching where I step still, hanging in the balance, not the life I want to live. I want to take it all, standing tall, fear outweighed the person you are. Oh, break out, I've got to see. Spent all my life holding all of it closely. I played it innocent, a feel of discontent. I'm finally facing it all, fearless.
I'll go. You got in at that resistance line, didn't you?
Just like the street lights lit this town, like a fire in a blaze, gotta burn it down. Can't be afraid to leave this out. We got this far, don't know how. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we gonna let it rain. Tonight we gonna let it rain. Tonight we gonna let it rain. Just like the sunrise, we gonna let it rain. Just like a spark that's breaking out. Can't make a stop, can't
It's actually funny because I was just saying how it looks like that. What strategy was it called? Silver Bullet, I think. Yeah, the Silver Bullet strategy. It was actually playing out. It had a trend line. It was in a range. I was looking for it. I was literally about to get in if this came back down to like 70 or so. Looking for it to break trend and come all the way back down here, and I had an obvious stop point. But it didn't come back down. It just went up. The Coors Light strat? Yeah, buddy. We're just literally going to go back green on the day. Insane. I'm sad because I didn't get my fill on these options, and now the price is going to start to drop. Well, it doesn't say it's thinly traded. That's the thing. Like looking at the volume on these. It was the right here. So the 450, I mean, it's got almost 5,000 in volume, 452. That's the one I think that's hanging it up. I don't really want to go higher, but like what would happen if place the 452, 455, risking more but making about the same percentage. Really don't want to risk that much though. Let's see. What if we went down one? That's pretty close. So about, this is only 35. But again, we're using a lower volume area. Let's just try, see what happens. It's essentially the same trade. I'm trying to get the same amount, but it's actually down more, which is actually a good thing. At it. All right, well, I got some stuff to do around the house. I'm going to jump off. I see Alpine's live, so if you guys want to go over there and join him, just make sure you let him know that I sent you there so that he realizes I support him. He just doesn't support me. With that, though, have a good weekend, guys. Seriously, stay safe. Don't do anything dumb. If this trade eventually goes through, I think I'm going to leave this one up. If we do get filled, we get filled. I'd be pretty happy with it. If we don't, then so be it. But I'm going to plan on probably making a video about the option stuff moving forward. So I will see you all on Monday. And yeah, have a good weekend. Until then, later. Peace.